is Newsnight, where we go above and beyond the headlines. I'm Pia Hontiveros. Our top stories. Resigned COMELEC Chairman Andy Bautista announces he received a letter from the Office of the President. It states that Malacanang accepts his resignation effective immediately. After 5 long months and the killing of hundreds, the war in Marawi City is finally over. And work classes called off as world leaders gather in Manila for the ASEAN Summit in November. COMELEC Chairman Andy Bautista faces the media this afternoon. He announces that he received a letter from Malacanang signed by Executive Secretary Salvador Medialdea. Let's get more details from our Trisha Terada reporting live from Manila. Trisha, what does the letter say?
Yes, Pia, that is right. The Office of the President has accepted the resignation of COMELEC Commissioner Andy Bautista effective immediately. In a press briefing, Bautista showed this letter from Malacanang affirming or showing the decision of President Duterte. It was signed by Executive Secretary Salvador Medialdea. Bautista's resignation was approved earlier than expected. He filed it in the second week of October, but effective end of December. Bautista says he will no longer attend the COMELEC en banc sessions starting tomorrow.
Noong sinabi ko December 31, hindi ko naman basta-basta lang sinabi yun ay pagkatapos rin ng pag-uusap. At kung bakit ko nga ginawa yun ay dahil gusto kong bigyan yung appointing authority ng paggalang na bigyan nga ng panahon na makahanap ng kapalit at magkaroon nga ng orderly transition. Pero kung ang kanyang palagay is ito ang tamang gawin, ginagalang ko ang kanyang pasya at ginagalang ko ang kanyang desisyon.
Bautista feels it's just about time to leave to give the next commissioner enough time to prepare for the next elections like the Senate, Barangay, and SK. Bautista recalls some milestones achieved during his term, such as the satellite registration, presidential debates, also noting the success of the 2016 presidential elections. But Bautista says what he will miss most about his job are the people. He did not want to comment if his impeachment will now be considered moot and academic, considering that he has already resigned. But we are still here in the COMELEC where the employees are standing in the hallways. Commissioner Bautista just came out of his office and he met the people, the employees who are waiting and cheering for him right outside the hallways of COMELEC. Pia?
Trisha Terada reporting there live about the resignation of COMELEC Chairman Andy Bautista. The war is over. Defense Secretary Delfin Lorenzana made the announcement today after the armed forces stopped operations against ISIS-inspired mounted-terrorists in the city of Marawi exactly 5 months after fighting erupted. Let's speak with our senior correspondent, David Santos, live from Marawi. David, what's the situation like on the ground right now?
Well, even after Secretary Lorenzana's announcement today, we could still hear bursts of gunfire and loud explosions from the battle zone. Now, officials say those were merely reconnaissance fire, a way of checking if there are still Maute stragglers present who could fire back at the troops. Now, for many of the journalists covering the war here for the past 5 months, well, today's experience was simply surreal. For one, the military has become more lenient in allowing us to take photos and video footage of what is left of the war zone. The infrastructural damage was simply staggering, with entire neighborhoods completely obliterated. Now, second, we were no longer required to wear protective gears like vests and helmets. That gives you a sense of how much today's announcement made an impact in terms of security restrictions here. Now, the fact that more frontline troops are also being pulled out of Marawi is also an indication that indeed this long-drawn and bloody war has finally come to an end, Pia.
Well, David, it must have been really surreal for you. You've been in and out of Marawi the last 4 or 5 or so months. Tell us about this graduation ceremony for troops.
Well, the past few days, we've been seeing the military handing out recognition awards to officers, soldiers, and their units for their contribution for the recapture of Marawi. But with a feeling of triumph and contentment over a successful mission, it is also often balanced with the memory of those who failed to make it out alive. Well, in today's graduation ceremony for the Army Special Operations units who were deployed in Marawi was part of a test mission of their training courses. Some of them can't help but feel emotional for their fallen comrades. In the ceremony, the uniforms of the 9 soldiers and 1 policeman were displayed along with the troops in formation. Army Chief and former Joint Task Force Marawi Commander Lieutenant General Rolly Bautista says the Marawi troops have developed that motto of walang iwanan, or no one is left behind. So even in times of celebrations like what we saw this afternoon, those who have made the ultimate sacrifice of offering their lives for this mission will always be remembered, Pia.
David, they made it alive, huh? Now tell us about these troops. More troops leaving Marawi?
Yes, the 300 troops we saw this afternoon of the Army Special Operations Units are set to pull out of Marawi tomorrow. Today, the Marine Battalion Landing Team 5 also departed for Sultan Kudarat, while its mother unit, the 1st Marine Brigade, will leave by Wednesday. Now, over the weekend, we also saw the redeployment of 2 Army and Marine battalions to Manila. Now, earlier today, we also saw members of the PNP's Special Action Force also preparing to withdraw from Marawi. Now, there will still be 6 battalions of Army that will stay here, but with the combat operations ending today, the remaining units will continue to provide security as well as help rebuild Marawi. Pia.
David Santos reporting live from Marawi. More local stories later on the show, but first, a check on the top stories from around the world. U.S. President Donald Trump says his country is prepared to counter any threat from North Korea. Trump again emphasized the importance of China's role during an interview with Fox Business Network. Mr. Trump believes China has, quote, the power to do something very significant with respect to North Korea, unquote. Mr. Trump praises China's actions on the reclusive regime, adding he and China have an exceptional relationship. But the president maintained that though China is assisting in reigning in Pyongyang, the United States has their own preparations underway. Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe's call for a snap election appears to have paid off. Exit polls show he and his ruling coalition are on course for a landslide win in Sunday's parliamentary elections. The Liberal Democratic Party is expected to take more than 2/3 of Parliament's 465 seats. The win puts Abe on course to be the longest ever serving prime minister in Japan's post-war history. Abe told reporters his immediate task is to deal with North Korea. And at least 2 people were killed and many others injured as a mammoth typhoon struck Japan. Typhoon Lan is now moving away from Japan as it heads out to sea after causing extensive wind damage, flooding, and mudslides. Typhoon Lan made landfall early Monday along Japan's southern coast. More than 200,000 people were ordered to evacuate, while over 2 million homes were advised to prepare for an evacuation. Now, news for some residents in Luzon. Malacanang has declared November 13 to 15, Monday to Wednesday, special non-working days in Metro Manila, Bulacan, and Pampanga. This is to give way to the ASEAN Summit and related meetings that will be held in Metro Manila and Clark Field in Pampanga in November. The Council of Mayors earlier said it is suspending classes in all levels in Metro Manila for public and private schools on November 16 and 17. That's Thursday and Friday. So for some, that means 1 week of no classes and work. The Court of Appeals permanently stops the Philippine Competition Commission from conducting pre-acquisition review of the San Miguel telco deal. That means the buyout of SMC's 69.1 billion peso telco assets by Globe Telecom and PLDT is now considered legal. The transaction involves the much-coveted 700 megahertz spectrum, which has wider coverage across the country and better internet connection indoors. San Miguel initially planned to tap the spectrum itself, but talks with Australian carrier Telstra fell through March last year. Organizers of the design and lifestyle event Manila Fame defend the participation of the famed Kalinga tattoo artist Apo Wang Od in the event. They say Wang Od's invitation was sought through proper channels. Clayton Tugonon, the executive director of the Center for International Trade and Expositions and Missions, adds the tattoo master's health and safety needs were addressed. Wang Od's participation in the event sparked a debate among netizens, with some calling it exploitative. Wang Od Oga is known as the oldest mambabato from Buscalan in Kalinga. She was nominated for the Gawad sa Manglilikha ng Bayan or the National Living Treasure Award on Friday. That's it for tonight. Thank you for your time. I'm Pia Hontiveros. See you again tomorrow for News Night, where we go above and beyond the headlines.